So tonight, it will be mostly a bit of an information download tonight. A lot of our online sessions this year will make quite informative. The idea is to be short, sharp, to the point. Again, record the information as well, or the session, so that it can be viewed later, particularly for if you can't actually make it on at the time of the session. So you do get a bit extra out of it joining live. We will have time for questions and debrief and whatnot afterwards. However, we will just go through it quite quickly, so that if you are watching later on, then you can watch it relatively quickly. I am very also aware that the chat function doesn't operate for some people. That I'm aware of that. It was too late to change that today, but I know how to have that fixed, and that will be fixed up for next week's and future sessions. So I'm sorry if the chat function doesn't work for you, but I will provide some opportunity for frequent questions. Other than that, just make sure you make a note of them so that you can ask them. Don't want you missing out. Okay, straight into it. So our training development for this season has taken a bit of a different shape, rather than just same old week in, week out. As part of the feedback over the last couple of years that I've been trying to work with is opportunities for everyone, and working with a very dynamic group. You're all volunteers, and everyone has lives outside of rugby, apparently. So we do want to have multiple offerings, different nights, different formats that we offer in as well. So we're going to work mostly to a 4-week cycle. So every 4 weeks, it'll run through 4 types of offerings. It'll start with a bay-wide event. These will either be on a Monday or a Wednesday, mixed between the two of them. And we will have those split between, this year will be split between Paengaroa, Rotorua and Mount Maunganui. And we will move one of those meetings to Whakatane next year as well. So we will look to move them around a little bit, but mostly they will be kept central at Paengaroa. We will, of course, we also have our season launch day on Sunday, April the 10th. So that is one day that is slightly different to the rest. That was something we were hoping to hold recently, but COVID got in the way. And we'll focus on guest facilitators and speakers at those. I guess it's about really sharing the key messages, delivering content in a way that we can really get it across and upskill everyone, rather than just hearing from within. So it won't always be external facilitators, but certainly we'll make the aim of those to be quite important. Pods, which I'm going to talk about shortly, that'll be week 2. On the 3rd week will be a local meeting. So Whakatane, Rotorua and Mount Maunganui. And we will use our club resources, our members, to facilitate those meetings. So that will be one of my next tasks, is teeing up our facilitators for the season. And online, which is we are currently doing at the moment, we scheduled a couple extra online meetings at the moment, just to get into the swing of things. But yeah, we will be delivering those on a Monday evening typically, and that will be so that they can be recorded and then shared and then sent out to the world so that you can watch them throughout the week. You'll also note that I've listed junior referee meetings in there as well. This will be an initiative that you'll hear more about too. So they will take place in terms 2 and 3, and usually on those same weeks that we have online meetings. So for most people, it won't be an extra rugby night out. You'll have an opportunity to connect online and then maybe even support our junior referees as part of that initiative. Also, as part of training and development, we have our fitness and conditioning sessions. So currently these are Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock. Run for about 45 minutes, thereabouts. Jacko over in Whakatane runs the Eastern Bay area, and Tasman, who is here as Bailfini staff, runs them, and she also oversees all of them and provides support for Jacko. Nico will also be teeing up some fitness sessions, conditioning sessions in Rotorua, and we're just going to confirm those dates and schedule, as some other schedules have changed just recently. So watch out for further news on that. But if you do want any more info on conditioning and fitness, then do check in with Taz. She's available. She'd love to hear from you and love to work with you, and even can take you through a bit of a program. So her details are there, and I'll be sharing all this information and slides out anyway, in case you haven't managed to scribble that down fast enough. I think she has even put a Facebook post on this week as well. Cool. And as I mentioned, our pods. So our pod system is a new initiative this year. The idea is that we can connect quite locally with referees and at a time that suits the group. Hopefully it creates, another identity for us. We have a few identities within our refereeing ecosystem, I guess. So our referee panels being probably the main one, but having another identity where you have a mixture of panels and locally based referees, it probably won't make a huge noticeable difference in areas where we have small numbers of referees, such as Eastern Bay and Central Bay of Plenty. However, particularly for Western Bay, I know that Western Bay is quite wide-ranging with quite a lot of referees, so being able to connect with people locally, we see as a massive benefit. And we also see it as a potentially really good thing for our junior referees or less experienced referees. So we'll be able to have people part of that group to check in, text, call, whatever, just have a go-to person. Again, another layer of support and another identity or someone that they can identify with and relate to from someone that lives locally and close to them. So we'll be working through the details of those as registrations come in. Registrations are understandably slightly slower this year coming in, but if you haven't registered, make sure you do jump online and fill that out in the next week or so. That'd be great. And that way we can get our pods sorted, and we'll share those at our season launch field day, which is on the 10th of April. They will be shared out after that as well via email, so you will know who you're teed up with as well. But no, pretty excited about that initiative, and just again another offering for training development. And if you're wondering how that fits into training and development, well, the pods will also have a matrix, a smorgasbord of activities to choose from. So you won't be left completely hung out to dry figuring out what to do. I'll provide support to the leaders within the pod. So there will be those within the pod who will drive the group itself, and I'll support those people in delivering and executing things such as even just connecting with clubs and schools locally, either at trainings or at a club night or whatever it might be. We think it's a great way to be able to connect within our rugby community. Just before I continue, are there any questions that people have before I go on, based on what I've already talked about? I'm going to go for the 5 seconds of silence rule. All right, cool. Okay, linking in with pods as well is our club and school liaison initiative. So our goal this year is to connect with 60% of clubs and schools, have a dedicated registered referee attached to those clubs and schools. It won't be burdenous. It'll basically be you'll be a point person, someone that they can connect with, a person that you will know who the key people are in that club or school, and they will know who you are, and you'll just have each other's contact details. You might be someone who goes above and beyond and meets up with them frequently or contacts them frequently, but you don't have to be. It's not an extra, burden upon what we already do as volunteers. We see that the pods system can really help with this, seeing as the pods will be geographically based anyway. We can see that our pods can loosely marry up with clubs and schools locally, and hopefully we can get some links out of that. I'd suggest as well, if you already have an established relationship with a club or a school as a referee, then can you just let me know? I'm driving that ship this year. I want to put a lot of focus in on our club and school liaisons, because I think it could really help not just us, but our community game in many facets. So flick me an email, text, anything, let me know that if you are already linked up with a club or school, and I'll just sort of outline a bit of the rest and a bit about the role and what you can do as well. That would really support me and us and the club and them. All right, just going on to support now for our members, for you guys. So I just wanted to, I guess, cover off a couple of ways in which we operate here in our referees club. A lot of you will already know this, but it's a matter of reiterating it or just, I guess, showing exactly what the thinking is behind it. So the first point of contact and your absolute go-to person for anything at all is your panel manager. I'm not claiming that they have all the answers. I don't expect all of our panel managers to have every single answer, but they can definitely point you in the right direction. And if they can't point you to where to find the answer or support you in finding the answer, they can point you to me, and I usually know the answer. But what it does do is it means that they are across everything about you as a referee in the referee club. It means that our panel managers get to know you really well, and if there are frequent questions popping up from people within their panel, then that's obviously something we need to address and make sure that we can, because if there are some questions, chances are those same questions are being asked by lots of other people too. So please direct most or almost all of your communication with your panel manager. If you don't know who they are, we'll cover that off shortly. But they have been pretty proactive lately in reaching out to you guys. I met with all of our panel managers over the last week and a half, and I know that if they haven't done so already, that they will be connecting with you for a one-on-one catch-up at some point, by the end of April or thereabouts. So yeah, be sure to connect with them. Make it even easier. Now, the way that we communicate as well, so you would have seen emails becoming slightly more frequent from me lately. In the off season, I typically make them once a month or thereabouts. Once the season kicks into gear, it's usually once a week. So I'll usually do a weekly update email. I'll try to limit the amount of information that's in the email to make it the key points, and often I'll link to lots of different things. I'll put the highlights in and I'll link to an article there or a website there or whatever it might be, and I'll point you in the right direction to find the information, just to try not to clutter the emails as it can, particularly this time of the year. It can definitely get a bit like that. My emails have got a little bit wordy lately, and I'm mindful of that, so don't worry. We also reiterate key messages on Facebook and WhatsApp. If you haven't connected with us on WhatsApp at the moment, check in with your panel manager. They can help you out with that, or flick me a message. I can help you out with that too. Highly recommended. It just means that you get something straight to your phone, and you can link in with something that way, and that might just be the reminder that you need. So what we'll also add as well, on particularly on Facebook and sometimes WhatsApp, is I guess a bit of value add or reminders. So these will be the things that don't always get shared out by email. They're not critical key messages, but they are certainly things that can add to your experience as a referee. It's just a quick way of sharing information, or sharing content. It might be content that's from another provincial union, or is found online as well. So it's a quick way of sharing out a link. That information won't always be shared out via email. So if you're not connected to us via Facebook and or WhatsApp yet, I highly recommend that you do. And if there is other critical info that falls outside the realms of my weekly updates, I'll be very scarce with this, but I will email it out if and when necessary, such as if I really need referees for a midweek Girls Sevens event. I'll email that out and get some referees. But usually you won't hear from me, and I'm talking club-wide emails, more than once a week. For those of our awesome volunteers who also have a number of roles in the club, you may hear from me a bit more often, and I'm not going to promise I'll only email you once a week either. But I really appreciate the work you do. So continuing with communication channels, so our I guess our feedback channel as well. So if you have anything that's going on that you would like to highlight, change, positive or negative issues that you'd like considered at a club level, I guess you've got a few ways of getting those messages through. So again, your panel manager, or if you don't feel either comfortable or want to go through your panel manager, that is completely understandable, and they'll understand that as well. You can connect with your area liaison, which I'll talk about shortly as well. Or you can go straight to the RMG chairman, or even myself. So our RMG chairman, Dave, who I'll talk about shortly too. And for on-field support, so that's actually boots on the ground, refereeing rugby. We have our referee coaches, and they're an awesome group. To connect with a coach, you can contact them directly. You can talk to your panel manager, particularly if you're wanting one-to-one support or things like that, which we'll talk about shortly. They are your go-to people. But again, your panel manager, can definitely be the one to link you in and tee you up with those. And on the topic of support, so just a few of our key contacts. I definitely won't be naming all of the volunteers now, I guess, who take on extra roles in our club, but I'll just be highlighting a few. So our referee management group, I've put in a few websites here as well. So again, I'm going to show you around the website shortly. So don't feel like you have to scribble each of these down, but we do have our management group listed on our website. Our chairperson is Dave Hodgson, and his contact details there as well. For referee coaches, our coach coordinator is Jono Baker. And in fact, gentlemen, I'm just going to cut to each of you. And Jono, if you don't mind going first, if you could just introduce yourself, just get a face to the name. I'm just going to see if this will overlay without. Jono, are you there? Is your video on?
Yep. All right. So yeah, good evening, everyone. So I'm the referee coach coordinator. What I'm here to do is to coordinate things with the referee coaching group behind the scenes, and that is in relation to what the referee coaching group is here to do, and that's to support you guys, the match officials. So what that involves is things like just keeping a note of the one-on-one coaching relationships. If anyone out there is seeking interaction, like a one-on-one with a referee coach, then by all means feel free to reach out, as well as some other initiatives which involves working with our referee coaches and looking at what opportunities we have there to aid and assist in their growth and development.
Thanks, Jono. Dave, are you there to introduce yourself there?
Yep, I'm here. You got me?
Yep, got you.
Yep. So yeah, I'm chair of our referee management group. We take a broad view of everything and make sure everything's operating properly, and then we have those portfolios that sit under each of the managers. So we try to make sure that everybody is fully supported, everything's fully equipped, and that we're providing the best possible support we can to the rugby community of Tauranga.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave. Okay. All right. Now our area liaisons. Particularly in Central and Eastern Bay Plenty, our area liaisons are a key point. They are a conduit, again, as they just mentioned, and through into the RMG information, to our information as well. So just another way of sharing that out. In Western Bay, we haven't had an area liaison before. This has mostly been because most of the referees have always been situated in Western Bay, but we're developing that role, and at the moment, and John Hoyle has put his hand up for that role. So I'm currently working with John just to I guess outline the scope of that. But again, it will be along the lines of a contact point, a conduit, but into the referee management group. Another connection point and a contact that you can go to for support, and he can link you up with that. He'd also just be across how things are going for Western Bay referees, how, in terms of local meetings, fitness trainings and things like that. So I'll be connecting and working more with John, and I really appreciate him sticking his hand up, as well as Tony Dunlop and Gary Dender in each of Eastern and Central Bay in particular as well. Our panel managers. So as I've said a couple of times, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it a couple more times before the end of this call as well, our panel managers are our absolute go-to people in our club. So everyone has a panel. I guess actually for our referee coaches, as Jono just pointed out, he is a referee coach coordinator. So for referee coaches, he is your go-to person. Think of him as your panel manager. But for all of our on-field referees, our panel managers are our go-tos. So we do have in panel 1, we have Pat Ray, panel 2, Jono Baker, panel 3, Steve Wheeler, panel 4, Peter Hastings, and panel 5, Peter Morgan. Now I'm just going to double check. Pat, do we have you on the call yet? And Peter Hastings? I don't think so. No, I don't think we have Pat and Pete on the call just yet, but I do believe we had Steve and Peter Hastings on. So, John, I'm going to assume that you've already introduced yourself and that you're probably happy doing so, unless you want to jump in again there. But otherwise, I'll cut to Steve Wheeler, and he can just, if Steve, you just mind introducing yourself, just so people can put the face to the name. Sorry, Steve, you've got mute on, so you might need to unmute that first. No. Okay. Do you want to just give us a wave then, Steve? I think I spotlighted it. That's the face to the name at least. You can't hear his voice for now. That's okay. Steve will connect with you in a wee bit. That's all good. Thank you very much. And across to Peter Morgan. Pete, are you there?
Yeah, mate. All aboard. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
Cool. So Pete, your panel manager for panel 5. Also do the appointments for that panel as well. So just happy to help on and off the field, liaise with Peter Hastings, redevelopment going up the grades, and just wrap that support around you, and a close contact with Jono too to get those coaches out. So, mate, open door policy, guys. So just anytime, just give me an email. Door's always open. Just leave my beer fridge alone.
Thanks, Pete. Expected nothing less. And just to add to panel 5 as well, so we do have Reese Urata over in Central Bay as well, who has that local supporting role. So as that point person for local panel 5 referees and also junior appointments there too. And we will develop the role in Eastern Bay as to the right person there. So also kicking on to gear as well now. I'm just going to check. We've got Grant Wilson on the. I don't see Grant Wilson on the call, but Grant again, has been around the club for many years, and he has been our apparel manager superstar. So for any kit that you need, I know a few of you who have already hit him up for kit this year. So he's your man. Again, referees, bopRugby.co.nz/referees-gear is where you can go, and there's an online form there that makes it super easy for Grant, because it means you put your sizes in, you select what you need, and then it just spits it out to him, and he'll get an email, you'll get an email, and then he'll get in touch with you to figure out how to get it to you. So yeah, make sure I need to get a new pair of socks because my ones now have holes in them. So they're usually the first ones to go. So don't be shy about actually replacing any worn out gear as well. I'll just say that for sure. Like, you don't need to run around in worn out gear. There is gear for you to access. So if your shirt's got a bit messy or stained or ripped, or anything's got ripped or got holes in it, we want you looking your best, but also feeling your best when you're running around out there too. So make sure you get in touch with them and get the gear that you need. Our awesome referee administrator, who just does a mammoth amount of work week in, week out, particularly in the season, and not just for our referee group, but actually here in the Bay of Plenty Rugby office is Evan Booker. Evan, are you on the call? I can't see you there. But again, Evan's such an amazing person, and he can often help out with things too. But he is, again, massive background workhorse who just does everything and anything. So I really appreciate and really just wanted to say that more than anything else. So John Hoyle as well has come to us this year and offered his expertise as a sports chaplain. Now, we won't be covering that, going into the depths of that tonight. We'll have a special session which will include that in the coming weeks. But just highlighting that as a layer of support. So John there is there as a layer of support as a sports chaplain, and we'll unpack all the information about how you can access that and what kind of things you can have a chat about there too. So really appreciate that. A club wouldn't be a club without the likes of all the different skills and qualities that we bring to it. So really appreciate that from John. And lastly, just on our key context here, just help with disciplinary reports. It's one of the less appealing parts of our jobs as referees, but it is necessary, and that's reporting. And when we have disciplinary issues, Jeff Kay is our superstar there. Jeff will connect with you. He's there to bounce things off. If you ever issue a red card or have a serious misconduct or abuse or anything like that, then definitely give Jeff an email, give him a call, bounce it off him, because he'll just make sure that we just get the wording right, because little words here and there can make a big difference when it comes to reporting and disciplinary process. We will be doing an online session as well around the disciplinary process. We will, in fact, it's probably now a good time to mention that our disciplinary committee has changed this year here at Bay of Plenty. So it's actually being headed up by a referee who's contributed a lot to Bay of Plenty rugby referees over the past few years, and is now whistling just back in Thames Valley now, John Dusto. So John Dusto will be our Bay of Plenty Rugby Referees Disciplinary Committee. So he'll be a friendly face that a lot of you will recognise, and we'll be doing a session with him online in a few weeks, and he'll take us through the reporting process and what to expect if you ever have to attend a hearing, which are mostly done online these days. So that's something to look forward to in the weeks coming up. Now, Jono has covered a little bit here. But I'm just going to cover a couple of things and then connect back with Jono to see if there's anything else that we want to add. A lot of people ask questions about how coaching works, how to access a referee coach, what it is they do. Now, we sincerely don't have enough referee coaches. No referee club ever really has enough referee coaches or referees. It's I'd really like, but we absolutely value every bit of work that our referee coaches do. They're crucial for the development of you all, regardless of your age and experience. Just either keep ticking along or as you're learning. We do have a grow model or process that we work to. It is super simple and it's super effective, but it only really works if that connection happens before a game. So once you know that you have a referee coach appointed to your game, please absolutely get in touch with them. I'll take you through our website soon. All of the details are there for referee coaches, and if you can't find them, you can always contact Jono and he can put you in touch, or your panel manager. Like I said, one-stop shop for your panel manager. But if you contact your referee coach, just say, hey, I'm working on this. Can you just have a little look? A goal or two. All of a sudden, your referee coach has a focus for that game, and then they can have a conversation with you afterwards that is short, to the point, and is really centered around that focus. It's not stopping anyone from having discussions on other things that happen in the game too, but it means that you will get feedback that actually matters to you, and not what the referee coach just thinks that you might want to hear, which is what they're going to do if you don't tell them what you want to be looked at on. So please connect with your referee coaches. You can be appointed a referee coach, as Peter mentioned as well. Get in touch with your panel manager. They can connect you with a referee coach. You can also actually contact a referee coach if you want to be coached one-on-one and have like a real close one-on-one relationship with a referee coach. Talk to them each week, bounce each game off them. There are referee coaches out there who absolutely want to get to know a lot of our referees more. So please get in touch with your panel manager or Jono or a referee coach, because it can happen, and it will happen if you ask. So if you want more coaching, you'll get more coaching. If you don't want more coaching, then you probably won't get more coaching. So it's pretty simple as that. John, have you got anything to add, that any burning referee coach points?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, summed it up.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, you may have seen a recruitment campaign in the last couple of weeks, just to say around refereeing rewards. That's a targeted campaign from New Zealand Rugby. So even things that you see online like that, either those campaigns or things that we share, social media is a pretty powerful tool. So if you do see them on there, share them out on your own channels. All of a sudden you'll see how far they can spread, and you might actually reach someone that you didn't know wanted to be a referee, or they might come asking questions to you. So pretty key message there is you are the recruiter. You are a recruiter. I mean, you are a part of our club. You know what refereeing's like, and you're the one that can tell the story the best. So I guess it's a testament to what refereeing's like, looking at everyone who's on the call tonight. So everyone, we've got a range of ages, background, experience, people who can contribute more and less, and people who are refereeing week in, week out, some people who referee a couple of times a year. So at the end of the day, it all matters, and everyone who contributes in their own way. Reiterate that with people that you know, or share it within your circles. But just don't be afraid to mention it. If you know someone who's a former player or school age and looking for other things to do, those are particular target, I guess, ages that we look for. But there's also a big drive, and particularly this year, to have more girls and women involved. I'm linking up with Kendra, who's our awesome Bay Plenty Rugby Women's Development Officer, and we will be, once she's back from Super Rugby Opiki stuff, even though it has finished, she's still away. We'll be coming out with trying to drive some initiatives as well to recruit more girls and women into the game. So if you know anyone, definitely send them our way. And as I mentioned, the Junior Referee Club as well, which you definitely will hear more of. This is an initiative that is being driven as well by Jamie Bell, who a lot of you know, and now works for the union as the Junior Referee Manager, as a part of his role. So that will be becoming more and more seamless and linked in with our club as well. The more young referees, junior referees that we can bring in through high schools, that high school stage as well, then the more we can grow our club. So they may or may not continue onwards straight away, but often you'll see referees that start at high school might go away and then come back after they've finished playing or finished going to university or things like that. So it's definitely a long-term goal. Appointments. So I guess the key message here is help us to help you. So there are so many things that you can do as a referee to get the appointments that you that fit you as a volunteer. So our appointments coordinator and key part of our RMG as well is Ian Wedderburn. He now note that he's the appointments coordinator, so he brings in all the information that he gets and appoints our referees. So Ian works really closely with our panel managers. Again, key person being a panel manager. If you are able to share your wants and needs and idiosyncrasies and anything that is going on with you as a referee, particularly with your panel manager, one, they will know you really well as a referee and can only serve you better, point you in the right direction, get you the right support, but also they can feed that information on to Ian, and he can then make the appointments that fit you as a referee, because we will know you better as a referee. So I'll just cover off timeframes as well. So with pre-season versus season, so at the moment with there's a few games around. Over the past 4 weeks, 50% of the games have been cancelled, and won't even give you any guesses as to why. So appointments have been very fluid, and rather than wasting everyone's time by appointing a week or two out in advance, the those appointments have been done in the week and days leading up to a weekend. So at the moment, you can expect appointments a little bit later before a weekend versus the season, where in general, appointments are usually done 2 to 3 weeks out. Sometimes in about a week to two, there'll be changes or extra appointments made in that week leading up to a weekend. But more often than not, at least a week or two out, you can kind of know that what you're doing on a certain weekend. The key thing here is availability. So once you've shared all the information about you and your panel manager knows you, is update your availability, and please keep it updated. If it does change, it makes it so much easier for you and for us and for everyone involved, that if you're no longer available, change your status to not available, please. Otherwise, you may end up with an appointment, even particularly in the days ahead of a game. You may think, oh, it's Wednesday, I haven't got any games this Saturday. Those are normally when things get the hardest for an appointer, trying to find a replacement for someone who's had to pull out of their game or for whatever reason. And then they try and appoint someone else who says they're available, but they're actually not available. So please, if you can, keep it up to date. It makes everyone's job a lot easier. On that note, Ian, can I throw over to you, please, just to introduce yourself and to cover off any other notes on appointments?
Yeah, good evening all. Yeah, can you hear me? Is it coming through?
Yep, we've got you, Ian.
Okay. Yeah, evening. I'm Ian Wedderburn. As Cam's told you, I sort of collate all the appointments together. But just on that, please, we'd like you to respond as soon as possible. So especially last year, we were appointing people and then 2-3 days later, they still haven't accepted their appointment. Please try to accept it as soon as possible. That's one thing. And then just special requests. Sometimes people haven't refed at certain grounds. We would just like to know that. And if you do, for example, have kids at school that you are going to Rotorua or to Whakatane for the weekend with this team, let us know so that we can maybe send you to do a game there to help out in the morning if it's possible. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think Cam said it all.
That's perfect. Thanks, Ian. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to get back to the presentation. Right. Yeah, exactly what Ian said, particularly around that. Help us to help you. Let us know the information. We can do anything that we, within reason that fits around your lifestyle. So thank you so much in advance for doing that. I've just noted I've seen Pat and Pete Hastings on the call now. So just really briefly, gentlemen, I'll throw to you, Pat, first of all. Probably face that most people will recognise, but just say hi and face to the name and panel one manager.
Evening. Apologies for my lack of punctuality, but I went and scheduled a one-on-one grow conversation with Amon and Imene for exactly the same time. So apologies there, but I see Amon's on the call now, so we've just finished our one-on-one grow conversation from his game on the weekend, and so we've jumped in. So I'm the Premier Panel or Panel 1 panel manager. That's my volunteer gig with this with the organisation. So enjoyed my time last year, and they haven't given me the boot, so I'm back again this year. Cool.
And Pat, even just without your volunteer hat on in your Bay of Plenty role, perhaps want to just briefly highlight what that is, just so people have good understanding of that.
Okay, so I'm the community rugby manager. There's a team of 9 of us, myself as the lead. We're sort of segued off into 2 separate teams. One team's responsible for growing our people. So that's the development team, of which Cam is the referee, develops referees. Dan develops coaches. Jamie Bell, who some of you know, he's now working for us. He wears 2 hats. So one hat is he develops junior referees, and the other hat he develops junior coaches. And we've got Lisa, who's responsible for developing team managers, club administrators, and teachers in charge. So that's the development team. And then I've got an entire team whose core responsibilities are growing more participation numbers. So Kendra grows the women's space. Harry and Moana grow the Ripper and junior space, one in Western Bay, one in Eastern Bay. There's a vacancy in Central Bay. And I've also got Delwyn, who works with Kendra, and Delwyn is running a separate girls program called Girl Code. And last but not least, the most important member of our team is Evan, who is probably the main one who keeps us all in line. He's the only one that gets a 10% pay rise every single year.
Thanks, Pat. Thank you also for echoing my words, even though you weren't actually able to hear them before. That's perfect. Look at that. Not scripted at all. And Peter Hastings, if you're there and available, Pete, just introduce yourself as Panel 4 manager.
Sure. Whoops, just get the camera. That's better. Hello all. I'm the Panel 4 manager for the union this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've been refereeing since 2010. I came into it late, and when I say late, I was 44 when I started refereeing, but I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm just really looking to work with a bunch of really keen people, and I've already been in contact, and looking at how I can help them to further themselves in their refereeing. So yeah, thank you.
That's perfect. Thanks, Pete. And most of our panel managers as well, as you probably would have picked up on, are also referee coaches. So it's great to see that those coaching interactions are happening even tonight after a preseason game of the weekend. And it's a good thing that's mostly been information download, gents, so it'll be pretty easy to watch the recording. So all good. Okay, just a mindful thing about COVID-19 as well with appointments. So again, we all understand how fluid situations everything can be at the moment. So please stay in contact if your situation does change. So whether that affects your availability or a game coming up or something like that. But we kind of need to know, particularly if you are appointed to a game and can no longer be there, so that we can sort it out with the most time possible. On that same note, it's going to affect some teams as well. Hopefully less and less as time goes on, but we anticipate that it will affect some games, and particularly in the coming weeks. So definitely be understanding of late changes, please. Just always check your appointment before you leave home. Check it in the morning or a couple of hours before the game or whenever it is that your last opportunity is. Check your emails, check Appoint Me, just to make sure, just to double check the details, and make sure there's no messages there to say it's been changed or cancelled or anything like that. Also, if you're recovering from COVID, there's not a lot of guidance out there for community sport. Obviously, with high performance and professional sport, they work through much more tailored plans. But it's a good general rule that if you pick up COVID, then it's probably got at least 2 weekends. The isolation plus another one, of no games. So it is I guess a little bit of a blanket rule at the moment. We really don't want to be throwing anyone onto a game at the moment without them realising that they're actually not 100%. It's not really about giving COVID to anyone else. It's more the fact that it all affects us in different ways, and sometimes in ways that we don't even know is happening. So again, make sure that your recovery is careful and considerate, and that you can also go to our COVID-19 webpage as well on our Bay website, and there's an article at the bottom actually about return to play after COVID, but for us it's return to participation, right? So it's the same principles. It takes you through step by step, how many days, where to get your heart rate to, how you can get your road to recovery going. So be sure to check it out. And also just your responsibilities at games. These are much more tempered than what they were going to be. This with the last week coming up of vaccine pass restrictions and things like controlled and uncontrolled areas, which have been the absolute bane of our community rugby existence over the past month or so, or 2 years, as it were, going back to the first lot of level 2 games in at the end of 2020. But essentially, just have common sense, particularly if you're moving between games or lots of people on a day. If you can avoid lots of handshaking, avoid it. Again, you may not have COVID, but you might pick up germs off someone else and spread it to someone else. So avoid contact where possible, wear a mask indoors, sanitize, the things that we're told to do by the government. And yeah, just be mindful that particularly you are in contact with a lot of people, and sometimes you might do more than one game. So just have some common sense, I guess, is the main message around referee responsibilities at a game. Now I've pointed to a lot of resources tonight, and I just want to highlight our website. So it's constantly under development and updating, and I guess the last month with COVID not just being off work but also having other distractions in terms of games has hampered a bit of the development, but it's okay. We'll forge on and hopefully get the information to the right people at the right time, or just in time. But do check it out. So I'm just going to stop presenting here and just share my screen. I'm just going to highlight a couple of areas on the website in particular. So, okay. So we have our Referees Club website, which is here, main page. Now you will see you get the drop down at the top, which can take you to lots of different sub pages. You can also get the drop down the side as well. So you can actually go down and drop down each of these little areas. It will look a little bit different on a phone. It'll look more stacked on top of each other in a single file line, but you can still get to this drop down menu. There'll be like three little lines at the top of your phone, which will allow you to see that menu, which you can see here. So a couple of key bits. So I highlighted a bit about gear before, so you can go in there and gear allocations, and you can see what kind of gear you can get, and you got the form to fill out there and get in touch with Grant. Got all about our people. We're adding to that as we go as well. We've added a page about our Referee Club Awards, and you can, again, there's not a lot of information on here just yet. It's all been compiled, and I want to thank Estelle in particular for the work that she's doing for that. But the awards criteria as well that are on there as well, so you can see actually what awards we do have and sort of what the criteria are. I do want to highlight one actually, which is a bit of a change for this year. So the Vahey's Cup, which has in the past been a most improved referee, this year is a best overall effort. So it'll actually be nominations from each panel. So there'll be five nominees, one from each panel, and it will just be a considered effort, be on and off field factors. Again, if you are interactive with your panel manager and they know more about you, as much about you as a referee on and off the field as possible, then chances are that they can probably know, a considered amount about you in terms of effort as well. So yeah, quite a cool thing for this year, a bit of a change, but all the others will remain the same. The only one that won't be awarded this year is the Sevens Awards. So Nico, you can hold on to that for another year, just with having no Sevens events really to speak of. Yeah. But again, I'm developing currently a Referee Club A to Z section. So the dream here is that pretty much anything will be indexed. So pretty much anything that you want to know about will be linked in here. It's very much still just being developed at the moment. I've only linked a few things in here at the moment, but we are starting to build and link things. That'll just be a keep on plugging away as we go kind of thing, and adding that in. So hopefully if you can't find whatever the page that you're looking for, but yeah, key one, guys, for anything that you want to know, in particular, all of our training development is our calendar and communications page. If you scroll down, there's a couple of dates you can see, a couple of links you can see, sorry. It's got an embedded calendar, which is copied to an Outlook calendar, which will keep updated. There's also a whole year planner link in there as well, which will give you the whole year as a bit of an outline on a spreadsheet. for people who like, a one-stop shop. And there's also a training and development dates button as well. And again, which lists all of our training development dates, where they are, who's facilitating, a little bit about what's going on, and that'll be added to and updated as a live sheet as we go through. So yeah, you can kind of see the different dates of the week, get them all calendared up, and then maybe even pick out a few, like, oh, I can't make them all, but maybe I just want to make these 5 or 6 throughout the season, or or these key ones here plus a couple of others. And if you get them in your calendar now, we all know that it's usually a lot easier to commit once from there. And lastly, just another key one, just on our grow process. So our grow review process documents are here. So if you actually want a template to be able to actually fill out go through the grow process, there's a couple of templates here. There's a really basic one which just has one goal on it, and then there's one which if you want to go in a bit more depth, you can add 2 or 3 goals, and that's on this template here. So really easy to fill out those templates. If you want to get in touch with the referee coach, there's details there, all the information about the grow model. So yeah, I could literally spend all night just going through the website. I'm not going to do that, and that would be a waste of my time and yours. I'm sure that everyone here has the ability to navigate, and that's where you can explore the most as well. Okay, I'll just stop sharing. Okay, so that actually brings us to the end. I was going to throw us into breakout rooms, but I'm probably just about a bit past the time that I would have liked to for that at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it out to a bit of an open forum, questions, Q&A, anything like that people want to know about the club in general, the 2022 season.
Yeah, Don here.
G'day, John.
Yeah, hey, I heard Pete and a couple of others talking about a Bronco test that appears to have been. I obviously missed that one. I just wondered, is there another Bronco coming up?
Great question. The great thing about Bronco test, Don, is that they can be done almost at any time. You just need someone who's able to record the result, typically a referee, coach, or administrator, in a field. So TAS will run them regularly or by request as well. So you're never in danger of missing out on a Bronco opportunity. Yeah.
Okay. I have a second question. The A to Z that you are developing there. My first game last year, when I came down from North Harbour to the Bay of Plenty, I had a red card. And so my question is the templates on the A to Z, has it got the red card template?
Great question. I don't know if I've got it on the A to Z just yet. Although there is a actually on the drop-down menu when you're trying to find the referee A to Z, that is actually a big link that says referee reporting. So I'll definitely make sure that the word red card gets linked to that for sure. But yeah, no, the long-term dream, Don, is that literally every single keyword you can think of in the refereeing sphere will be added in there, and hopefully pointed to the right direction.
It was good last year, and in fact, even though I was the new kid on the block, I was able to find the template there.
It's a good result.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome, thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Even any comments or added bits of added little gems or pearls of wisdom from any of our experienced club volunteers?
Cam, I just had a look at the website, that A to Z thing.
Yep.
That's bloody good idea, actually. I see under the Q to T, there's just reporting is one of those things. So you've already done that.
Oh, that's a good result. I even had the word red card in there. Had about that.
Yeah.
Nah, cool. I'm going to go 5 seconds of silence and then call it. I just remembered that I did forget to actually mention when our season starts. So it is a little bit, I guess, staggered. So at the moment we have the sort of local banner competition underway in Central Bay, which is a very prestigious and historical competition, and that is played pre-season just because the teams that are involved get split up during the Bay-wide season. So that's already underway and a couple of rounds in, and they've managed to navigate the COVID-ness so far, which is good. Eastern Bay local clubs begin their competition on the 9th of April, and they will, I believe, may or may not be linking in with some Poverty Bay. You may see some Poverty Bay clubs over this way as well, which would be pretty cool. We'll just wait to see what happens there. And the Bay-wide competition, as well as the Western Bay senior local competition as well, will all begin on the 30th of April, which is a nice late start, and hopefully get the last bits of the, lots of COVID out of the way. And juniors and secondary school will be about a week behind that. So all things going well, by the start of May, all rugby will be in full gear. Bay-wide season is a one round and done situation this year. So no two round mess or anything like that, and confusion that sometimes causes. No regrading and whatnot. So finals will be at the end of July. And Pat's just reminded me as well that the Premier Women's Comp, which are on Sundays, they're Sunday games, that starts on the 24th of April. So for those of you who are just available on Sundays or available on Sundays as well, or really want to referee a Sunday game, we absolutely need referees on Sundays. So again, have a chat to your panel manager, say, hey, look, maybe I can do a Saturday game this week and a Sunday game that week and alternate or things like that. So really great idea and opportunity. I love the thumbs up from Nick Burton, who's a big advocate of women's rugby and may or may not be involved with the Mount women's team too. But yeah, excellent. All right, I'll go for our last 5 seconds of silence. Any other questions or gold nuggets?
Thanks, Cam. It was really informative. Thank you.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Again, this recording will be up and you can share it out and share it with those who weren't here. And as we will do with all of our online meetings, we'll have another one next week before we get into face-to-face stuff. So yeah, next week will be around assistant refereeing, which will be pretty cool. Just going to run a bit of a basic 101 on that. And I think it'll be something that could really benefit all of us. So until then, same time, same place. See you next week. Thanks so much.